Now let us use a series here. For that I'll just use pd dot series function here. Okay, and then I'll put label here in this. Let's see what I will get. Now I will assign a variable called s to this. Now when I execute s, I have got this with A with green, B with yellow, C with green, D with yellow. This is a series basically, right? Now here I would like to use a fruit data frame. Okay, fruit data frame and group by function, and this time I'll just use this label with yes. Okay, and axis is equal to 1 so that it will take care with the columns. Now I will use an aggregate function called count here. Now when I execute this, I've just got the count of this table, right? Now let's see and explore some more grouping with functions. For that I'll just use again a fruit data frame here. This time I'll just use a function called length, and again an aggregate sum. You can observe one thing here. When I just said with respect to length, it will just take the letters from these indexes. Apple is having 5, okay, cherry is having 6, banana is having 6. Now this cherry and banana values will be combined together, and that will be your 5 index, right? So likewise it will just take care of all other rows, and it will perform an aggregation called sum. Right, so this is about grouping the functions. Now let us use another one. Let us pull that here with data. This is our data frame right now. Now when I execute this, I will get I'll get a table like this. Now this time I would like to just rename these column names. For that, not rename, I just wanted to name these columns. Okay, for that I'll just use data dot columns columns dot names is equal to, I'd like to mention 8 letter, okay, for the top row, and number for the bottom one. Okay, number. So now when I execute data, I'll just get here the letter and the number here. Okay. Now this time I would like to do the group by again, data dot group by. Okay. Here this time I'll just use a level is equal to letter. Okay. And axis is equal to 1 so that it will perform row wise, it will perform column wise operation. And here I would like to use an aggregate method called sum. Now we get the values of summation with respect to this letter group by, like, which is called A and B. So the one which is having the common of A will get add together, and the one which is having B will add together, and that will be our new table, right? Now let's see how we can perform by using a real data set. For that I'll just use pd dot, let's just import our operating systems. I'd like to see what we actually have in our list dir. So I would like to retrieve here vgsales globally dot csv. So this file I would like to retrieve. For that I'll just use pd dot read csv dot method, and I can just simply place this in this closed brackets. Now I will just give a name as a variable here, game as a variable here. Okay, now when I execute game.head, I'll just get the top 5 values. So this is our table. Let us observe what we have it in this table. We have rank, we have name, and we have different categories under the name column, and platform will also have different categories. Year is actually the numerical. Genre is again, it is having different categories. Publisher is again having different categories, and the rest are having some numerical values in this, right? And shows all the sales, right, with different areas. Now let us understand this data uh, by using a method called dtypes, right? So here we can just clearly see that what actually each column represents. This column or rank represents integer data type. Similarly, name represents object data type. Year represents, because it is having dot something, right? So it just represents float data type. As similarly others you can just understand from this. All right. So in this, I can just perform a statistical operation which performs on the numerical values. Here I can just use describe method. So, oh, it should be game here, right? So from this we can just clearly understand that, like, how many count. You can observe one thing here. This actually performs on the numerical ones like integer and float. It won't perform with terms of object data type. It just clearly gives with respect to the values, right, with respect to the numerical data here. So we can see here the counts, mean, standard deviation, minimum, 25% of 25th percentile, how much we have actually the number at 25th percentile, and 50% represents the median, and 75th percent represents how much is the value at 75th percent, and again maximum is again the value, right? So these are all statistical 5-point summary, right? Now in this I'd like to just use another thing which is called game dot. I'd like to drop all that contains not applicable, okay, drop NA, and this time I just wanted to see the data without NA values, right? Describe. So this will be different this time, because you see our values got reduced here, the count got reduced because we are trying to eliminate the ones which are there with NA, right? So this is about that actually. So we can also do individual operation for this. You can just use a group, okay? Let's say our variable is let's say our we have here a game data frame, okay. I'd like to pull out this global sales column here and check what is the mean for this global column, okay. So I just got 0.5. It is actually taking from this table, okay. It's 0.5374. Similarly, we can also use game. If you would like to check individually, game dot, this time I'll just say that other sales, okay. I'll just put here other sales dot, this time I'll just use account method, okay. Now this time I get here 16598. This is how we can use individual operations in for any kind of data frame, right? Let us also understand further. Suppose here if I would like to group by with respect to let's execute our data frame here. What is it? It's game, right? It's game here, okay. Game dot head, I don't want everything, so game dot head. So I have this data frame here. This time I like to use I'd like to just say that game dot, okay, game dot, I'd like to make it group by with respect to the column called junior, okay. For that I'll just use group by uh, something gone wrong, okay. Why is it not coming here? Okay, let's cancel it. Game dot head here. Okay, now here I would like to use group by, right? Game dot group by with respect to Genre, right? Genre. Now here I'd like to use a variable called group here in this. Now when I execute this, it will be an object, right? It will be an object. Now for this object I'd like to use a count method, right? For that I can just use group, and I would like to specifically mention here a column called global sales. I'm just relating these two columns actually. Okay, here we have global sales, right? Global sales dot count. Now you'll get whatever that having the categories in Genier, that will just keep counting with the data which is having in this data frame, right? Now I can also use I can also describe the data with respect to this group global sales. Can just use a method called describe. I'll just get all those values which are present within this global sales and this Genier, right? This group is actually the Genier. This is actually categorized with respect to Genier, and we get all those values in the global sales. Now similarly we can perform some actions on this. Let's say we have group dot mean. We can perform some operations here again. With mean we get all the values with mean in this table, right? Also if you would like to visualize in terms of a graph, we can just use matplotlib here. Let's say matplotlib inline. Okay, now here I would like to use a group. Okay, and let's say we are trying to see the picture for global sales, right? Okay, here I'll just use a main method. Okay, and like to use a method called plot in matplotlib. Just use kind is equal to var. Now when I execute this, you can see that visually the main is having more for platform, and then next one is shooter. So we can visually see all these things clearly. And similarly we can just use the other columns by using a group here and the method called main. Now when I execute this, you can see with respect to different areas or how the actual sales are, and the mean of sales for any region is having high. You can see it here for the category called platform, it is having high, and the next one is for shooter. And similarly for EU sales, you can just figure it out, it's almost same for platform and shooter. So that's how we can just see things visually by using matplotlib library as well. Alright, this is about group by options. I'll come with some more things in our next video. Thank you for watching.